Cash on the bag is our magic bullet for trade. Most of the trade is stalled, is hung up, because farmers won't release their crop until they've got the money in their hands. And larger buyers won't pay for a crop until it's in their warehouse and checked and weighed. Because the buyer won't trust, and because the farmer won't trust the buyer, the trade dies.
I'm Jacinta Nambiru, the manager, AgriNet, AgriFeeds, and I'm the finance and administration manager. We've been in operation for a year, and our core business is we make animal feeds.
What I'd like to understand is, when AgriFeeds needs a lot of money to pay some people, where do you get the money from? Can you go to a bank and ask them, give us a loan for 2 weeks? Will they give that?
No, I don't think they can. We've not tried it for that short period, but still, since we are beginners and we are very new in business, we couldn't go to the bank because they wanted security, which we didn't have.
Usually you don't know much in advance when you need the money, huh? Sometimes you know there's a good opportunity of buying, I don't know, sunflower cake or something, and then you have to react fast.
Yes.
Okay.
This cash on the bag service is actually going to the buyer. It's not going to the farmer. It's a credit facility to the buyer, so that the farmers can get their money.
This is premix that we use in mixing the animal feeds. It's one of the raw materials. Then we have sunflower here. That is one of the products we also use in making animal feeds. This one is one which we source from LIDA, from the network, LIDA network.
Seems to me quite complicated to get a loan from the bank then.
Yeah,
if you are a trader and you need to buy a truckload of something,
no,
you need to have the money in your pocket. Or
yeah,
what?
true, but what you should also understand in Uganda, microfinances and banks, they don't want to insure agricultural products. They fear that there's a lot of risks, so you may not be able to pay back their money if the weather changes.
No, I'm thinking of traders.
Traders.
If I'm a trader, or like AgriFeeds, I need to buy a truckload of something, I need the money. I don't have the money, so I'm stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck. You can't enter in a bank just within a second and you get the money.
There's so much effort going on making sure the farmer gets their hands on fertilizers and pesticides and what have you through loan schemes that are very, very risky. We've had an experience very recently with our sunflower. Farmers took out loans thanks to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation providing security to Equity Bank. They took their loans, they got their fertilizer, and along came a drought. So often happens, they could not pay back the loan. The crop wasn't there was no loan repayment, so the farmers go into debt. And indebtedness is something very, very difficult for farmers to live with. Many of these programs also result in higher production, which the farmers can then not sell at a price that actually covers the cost of the loans, because the loans aren't cheap. And the loans have stimulated overuse of inputs. So you've got another squeeze, even when things go well, even when there's a large production there, they can't get a market for it. The prices, of course, are rock bottom because the production's up, and they barely get enough money to cover the extra burden of the loan. So we feel that the money actually going in this direction is the wrong way for the money to go.
This is one of the products that we got from we bought from Budaka, from the Budaka network. The farmers were contracted by AgriNet to plant soya. Then we were contacted to buy The soya, because it's one of the raw materials we use in making feeds. The quality is very good because they normally sort it. They have a committee that sorts it out before they bring it to us for buying and packaging.
The way that Cash on the Bag works is that a credit facility managed by our network is made available to a large buyer so that that large buyer can pay the farmers when the farmer hands over their product onto the lorry of the buyer.
AgriFeeds is a business arm of AgriNet, and we look for market for farmers for their products, and we pay 1,000 shillings per month to advertise our feeds on their boards.
Cash on the Bag is only made possible because at the farmer end of the deal we have the information board manager, who is often a farmer from that community. At the other end of the deal, in the marketplace, wherever the buyer is, we also have another IBM. So it's only by having people at both ends of the deal that you can have the kind of security you need for Cash on the Bag to work. Because Cash on the Bag means somebody has to risk their money. The farmers aren't prepared to risk their product, the buyer isn't prepared to risk his money, so we step in and risk our money to make sure the farmer gets paid when he hands over his bag of crop, and when the buyer pays us, the amounts are liquidated.
This is the information board for AgriFeeds. So we have adverts and we have prices, we have the raw materials that we use in the factory. So these are seashells that came from Masaka. As you can have a look at them. These are some of the raw materials that we use in making feeds. These are seashells. The shells came from Masaka. The truck driver read the message that we wanted seashells. Then he rang me and told me about the price. We negotiated. Then I told him, fine, deal completed. Bring the seashells, then I pay you.
So it's a cash facility provided by the network to the big buyer, because the big buyer doesn't trust the farmers on their quality and their quantity to put his own money down on the table. So we will provide that facility to them. Because we have someone at the collection point who is checking the quality and weighing the bags, we know the risk of that credit is very low because we have a network member handling that end of the deal.
If somebody wants to be supplied with buds, we normally post our information through AgriNet, then they advertise, then we get the supplies through the networks. We had a deal of supplying 3,600 local improved buds and 900 cocks. We didn't have all that much money, so we went to a money lender. He lent us half of the money with an interest of 9%.
Per year?
No, per month. Each month you stay with the money, you pay 9% of the total amount of money.
So you needed the loan for how long?
We needed a loan for 1 month.
1 month?
Yes.
And why did you have to go to a money lender? Is there no bank where you can
No,
go?
the banks were there, but then it was a short notice. It was very short. The time of chasing for a loan was too short and we couldn't get it in the shortest time possible. And we had the deal that we had to fulfill on time. We got a contract to supply 3,600 local chicken. We didn't have all the buds here at AgriFeeds. We had to send out information to AgriNet. They sourced for us and we got all the buds that we needed.
We sold around 3,000 bats, and we sold them to Agronet, and they took them to Katakwi. Actually, we are in a group, but this is our center, the collection center. Agronet actually gave us some good money compared to the other buyers who used to buy birds from us. We used to sell these birds in a small quantity, 10, 20, but now they came and took the whole lot because I think they were supplying big companies. I don't know how they got the market, but they took birds in big quantities. The farmers, they said, but are those people bringing cash? How much are they paying? They were so happy. They were so happy. So because the money, they received their money in time.
They don't trust credit, they don't trust the bank, because during that period of the contract, we ran out of money, cash. We decided to write a farmer a check. The farmer couldn't trust the check. The banks were already closed. We told him, please take this check tomorrow. You take it to the bank, you get your cash. No.
They didn't want to. They didn't even want to check.
No, they didn't. They don't want checks. For them, they prefer cash, not checks. So if they are to take checks, you have to explain and lecture them, sensitize them a lot. But they don't believe in checks. They feel that checks normally bounce.
All right. So what can you do? What can you do to organize these kind of trading? What do you need to be able to do that?
Just getting them into networks, getting them into groups, networking, and then they produce, sensitize them, they produce one crop and bulk together.
Yeah, okay, you can sensitize them. But
yeah, sensitize them.
What else do you need to do to actually make it happen at the collection point?
That is being there with cash. Yes.
What makes cash on the bag possible now is the penetration of mobile phones into the hands of the farmers and the information board managers in the rural areas, and of course into the hands of the buyers and our information board managers in the markets. This allows for very quick communication between those involved in the transaction, so that pickups can be handled very accurately and very promptly, and deliveries can also be handled very, very promptly. Also, ICT platforms are now available to be able to track these deals, which were not available before.
What do you think in the future? Will farmers accept payments onto their mobiles?
Yes, they are using them, because many of the farmers don't have accounts.
Yeah.
Secondly, banks are very far from them. So there are these outlets in the villages,
okay.
IBNs, information centers, whereby they have the mobile money deals. They can easily go there, they access the money, and they get back home. Somebody is very far from in Kampala, the children are very far in Kampala, they send them money for school fees, money for garden weeding.
Yeah, but if I'm a farmer, I bring 10 bags of groundnuts, then the trader can pay me on my mobile. Is that acceptable for the farmer?
It's acceptable. It's only that it has not yet taken place. Yeah.
But you think that can work?
Yeah, it will work, it can work, but only that the farmers have not yet tried it out. Because if somebody sees that the money is there, before he releases the bags, he goes to the mobile money manager and gets the money. Or obviously, the deal will be done.
Or maybe he takes the mobile and goes to the village shop and buys sugar, and he can use the mobile to pay for the sugar.
Yeah, that is true. That one will work.
That will work?
Yes.
You think the farmers will like that?
Yes, they will. Because even they like the mobile money. Reason, it's near. They don't move long distances to go to the banks. They access the money within the villages.
Okay.
So we are taking this lesson ourselves on and commercializing that lesson into a cash on the bag facility, which will mean that farmers will get their money when they hand over their crop, and they'll get a fair price. and they'll have all their crops sold, because that facility will be provided not to the small middleman but to a much larger buyer in a much larger market.
We have the bonds which are already crushed. Then, you know, these are the bonds when they are already crushed. These come from the networks. The farmers collect them locally because people eat meat every day and they throw off the bonds. So they go and collect the bonds and sell them to us. Like Hidoko Network, this is where much of these bonds came from.
So we should think about how companies like AgriFeeds or traders, small traders, how they can get fast money so that they can actually buy a full truckload instead of waiting until they have enough money together to buy it. Is that right?
Yeah, that is true.
So we need to find a system whereby traders, even in far out places, actually can pay farmers the cash, because farmers,
They need cash.
they need cash. Okay.
They don't trust credit, they don't trust the bank. For them, they prefer cash.
And so, strangely enough, the public good of reducing poverty, the outcome that we're looking for, might actually be better served with some more experiments in investments at that end of the value chain, rather than investments through loans to farmers to produce more.
Our biggest problem has been market. But when we get market potential buyers, we are ready to restock and we are ready to supply in time.
So it's kind of a little bit counterintuitive when we think of the normal patterns of development investment. So we're pushing now more to look at investments at the buying end, the consuming end, putting a possibility of higher prices per kilo ending up in the farmers' pockets, and thereby building their own wealth and their own capital.
So, what about being able to pay at short notice?
Pay?
What we discussed on the when you need money, very short-term money for 2 weeks.
Then you run back to the money lender.
Yes, but I was thinking that maybe you can get a big loan to run your own fund, which you can use to do that.
Yeah, we can try both. Yeah, we shall try both, and then we shall see how it goes.
Good? Anything else? It's good.